Hello friends, welcome you all to another video, and today we are going to start with the paper number 4, and we are going to see the another metaphysical poet, that is the George Herbert. And today we are going to start his poem. So before that, let me talk about George Herbert. As you can see on your screen, as I have opened the Wikipedia page, and you know that the George Herbert, you can read on it that he was born at 3rd April 1593, and he was died on 1st March in 1633. So he was just 40 years old when he was died, and he was a Welsh born poet. He was a writer and priest of the Church of England, and his poetry is associated with the writings of the metaphysical poets. As you know that he is recognized as one of the foremost British devotional relics, and every poet is religious poet he has written, and his only one book, The Tempest, was written, and that is the metaphysical poetry. And you can see that he has got a good education that led to his admission to Trinity College, Cambridge in 1609, and he went there with the intention of becoming a priest, but he became the university's republican orator and attracted the attention of kings first. So you can read all these things there, and here you can see the book, the collected poems of his book, The Tempest, Sacred Poems and the Private, that is the Ejocutions. It is written on, and it was published in 1633. So that is his work, and here you can see his picture also. So that is his about him. So let's talk about the poem. The first poem is the Pule. Okay, and now I'm going to read out entire poems, and then half of the poem today we are going to finish, or if possible I will complete the poem itself, because your examination is very near. So I would try my best to complete this poem in today's lecture. So let's I'm going to read out the poem. You also read the poem. When God first made man, having a glass of blessing standing by. When, I repeat, when God at first made man, having a glass of blessings standing by, let us, said he, pour on him all we can. Let the world's riches which disparate lie contract into a span. So strength first made a way, then beauty followed, then wisdom, honor, and pleasure. When almost all was out, God made a stay, perceiving that alone of all his treasure rest in the bottom lay. For if I should, said he, bestow this jewel also on my creature, he would adore my gifts instead of me, and rest in nature, not the God of nature. So both should loser be. Yet let him keep the rest, but keep them with repining restlessness. Let him be rich and weary, that at least, if goodness lead him not, yet weariness may lose him to my breast. So here we can see that this is the 20 line spiritual fable, alternative rhyme narratives about the creature of man. And it is about that when the actually the God has made this universal. Okay, so it is the creation of man that borrows from the myth of Pandora's box and the book of Genesis. So the creator delves into his jar of blessing that contains virtues and attributes, bestowing strength, beauty, wisdom, honor, and pleasure upon man. Okay, so that all the things here, and here these notes I have already shared to you, so you will read it those notes. So now let's start to analyzing the line one by one. So here, as you know that we can see the line. Okay, when God at first made man. So here, as I have told you that the poet has started with the Pandora's the myth of the box, and the story of creation of man, creation of universe, and creation of man in from the Holy Bible, Genesis part. So here in the very beginning, the poet has said that when God at first made man. Okay, so this is the beginning of the world, beginning of the universe, and he has made a man. So he has a one glass of blessing standing by, having a glass of blessing standing by. So there was a glass of blessing. There are so many things which God wanted to give the human being. So if you think, if you look at the very first line, you can see that George Herbert's this poem is a metaphysical poem, and it is also one of the best known poet. So here is the conceit, and you can see that a type of figurative language uh, which he used, it is very closely he followed John Donne. Okay, so here we can say that the conceit of revolves around the Pule. He used it to depict humanity's restlessness nature that we are going to see. So you understood these two lines, that when God has made a man, so he wanted to bless man with all the things which were in the glass in front of the God. Okay, let's move to the another line. Let us, said he, pour on him all we can. So the God has decided that he wanted to give everything, whatever the God has. So therefore he wanted to pour all these things on the man. So let the world's riches which despair lie contract into a span. So he wanted to make all the richness, everything to the man. He wanted to give everything, whatever lie in this universe. He wanted to contract. He wanted to give that everything to the man. So that is the meaning of the first line. We can see here. Okay. So as you know that the Pule speaks on one part of the Christian creation story which God chose to imbue humanity with blessing. And the poem begins with the speaker stating that he is retelling the story of creation. He is particularly interested in the part where God gives humankind knowledge, wisdom, beauty, and strength, which we can see in the next paragraph. Here we can see here. Okay. So these are important features of human existence that followed easily from God to humankind. So what happens next? So you can see in the next stanza, the second stanza. So strength first made a way. So it was the strength which come from that glass, and it goes to the man. So man received first strength, the first thing from that glass, the first blessing, and it followed by beauty. Then beauty followed, then wisdom, honor, and pleasure. So after the strength, the man got beauty, then wisdom, then honor, and then pleasure. But after that, when almost all was out, God made us stay. Everything was God, only one thing left there, that is the rest. Okay, perceiving that alone of all his treasure rest in the bottom lake. So he perceived that there is only one treasure now left on him. All the treasure he has given to man, only one treasure is there, that is the rest, which is bottom lake. So God has made a stay, and then he think that, for if I should, said he, bestow this jeweler also on my creature, he would adore my gifts instead of me. So here he said that God think that if he give this last treasure to the man, so what will happen? And he called it as a jeweler. The God called it as a jeweler. So if that jeweler got man, then what will happen? The man will forget the God, and he will only admire, he will only worship to the gifts which he received from the God. So therefore, God decided not to give that, and rest in nature, not the God of nature. And therefore, what will happen? He will rest in nature, but not the God of nature. He will forget the God of nature. So both should loser be. So therefore, the creator of human being will be loser, and the creature which was that the man which was made by God will be also loser, because there is no actually any kind of intention. The God has made him, God has given everything to him, and he forget him. So what is there? There is a loser. Everybody will lose it. So both God and man will lose. So they will be the loser. So that is the thing the poet is here talking. Okay, so there is a one blessing that God did not let out of his cup, that is rest. He chose to withhold an innate ability to rest from humankind in order to keep his creation close to him. When one gets weary, then turn to God. Or that in this reasoning, Herbert Speaker states that God did not want humanity to love nature more than they love the God of nature. So that is the meaning of this. So the last stanza is already that he has decided what to do. That it let him keep the rest. So here the God said that let him keep the rest, but not full rest, but keep them with repining restlessness. He will get a rest, as we know that we sleep, okay, whenever we tired. So that rest we will get, but we will not get the entire rest. So we will be the restlessness creature. Further, he said, God said, let him be rich and weary, and at least if goodness lead him not, yet weariness may toss him to my breast. Okay, so that is actually the poet is saying through the speech of God that when man gets weary, they turn to God. If there is any problem, then only we just go to the God and we pray the God that, oh God, please uh, bless me. Oh God, please get me from this disaster or whatever the calamity we got here. Okay, so actually that is uh, the story, and here the poem ends. Okay, so let me talk about more add to this lecture, because as you know that I have promised you that we are going to finish every poem in single lecture, because we have to also start Hamlet. So let me talk about the themes, the theme of the Pule. So you know that Herbert was interested in exploring themes of religion and human nature. These are the very important theme of this poem, and the poem provides the reader with an image and idea of how God bestowed various traits on humanity. The speaker described these traits, which are the best that humanity has to offer, flowing from God, but human nature was also influenced by that which God did not give rest. So if you talk about the structure of the poem, the Pule, it has a four stanza poem, and each of these have a quatrains. So five lines or quatrains. So each of these quatrains follows a structure rhyme scheme. They conform to a pattern of A B A B. You can see here. You can see. Okay. A B. Okay. Again A B A. You can see A B A B A, like that. A B A B A. So that is the structure of this poem. Alternating end sound at the poet saw fit. The consistent repetition in the rhyme helps to give the poem an overwhelming feeling of unity. This makes sense as the entirety of this piece is dialogue spoken by God or about God. So a reader should also take note of the moment of the repetition in starting words of the Pule. There are a few moments in which this word rhyme. Okay, and that is the thing we can see here. So if we talk about the literary devices used in this poem, so we can see that there is very not limited actually, but alliteration is there, metaphor is there, imagery is there. Okay, and again the Herbert describes of the lighty personified forces making their way out of God's belonging and into humankind. The last rest lay on the bottom when all the rest of the treasure had departed. Alteration is common technique that helps to increase the overall rhyme and rhythm of a poem. For example, late and lie in line 4 of the first stanza, as well as the repetition of nature in stanza 3. So throughout this poem, as stated in the introduction, Herbert makes use of metaphysical conceit, and this technique is comparable to metaphor but is much more complex and original in nature. In this case, Herbert uses a Pule to describe the relationship between humanity and God, that is the religion. So guys, I hope that you understood this poem, the Pule by George Herbert, and tomorrow we are going to talk about the another poem of that is the Love, which is also written by George Herbert. But this love is not actually the love which we have the concept, but the love is the human being and God. That is the love between human being and God. That is the love. So I hope that you understood it. If you have any kind of queries, please ask me and start study. So thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.